Okay, today's fun is rear differential fluid on an R129 Mercedes. This is a 500 SL. Quick thing, there's not a lot of jacking points under these cars. There's not a lot of places to stick your floor jack to jack up the car. I use a factory jack, not the one on the car. I've got an extra one, but use the factory jacking points on the sides to jack the car up, and then you can get your axle stands under there. Of course, I'm not going to work under there without axle stands. And place the axle stands under the body mount. Now it's kind of dark under here, so I'm going to have to wear a headlamp. And anyway, oh god, I need a battery in this thing. My headlight's dead. Sorry, I'll be back in 1 minute. Okay, since it's very, very tight under here, the two things you really need to know where they are is going to be obviously the drain and fill plug. So on the drain plug is here. It is on the, looking at the car from the back, it is on the right hand side at the bottom. I'm pretty sure it's a 14 mil, but I haven't stuck a socket in it yet. And the fill plug is directly on the other side above the exhaust, up here in front, toward the front of the car, in front of the rear CV joint or drive shaft on the right side when you're looking at the car from the back. And I apologize for the quality of the video. There is not a lot of room to work under here. And anyway, I'll be back in 2 seconds, let you know what size that socket is. I'm 99% sure it's a 14, but I'll let you know in a second. Turn off. Okay, both the drain and fill plugs are a 14 millimeter Allen headed socket. So if you don't have one of these, don't bother even starting. Another word to note, do this when your oil is hot. But you're gonna have to let the exhaust cool down, because you have to get your hands up past the exhaust and you'll burn your crap out of your hands if you don't. Another thing, if you do this, always, with any differential that you're gonna change the fluid in, always take out the fill plug, the top plug, first, because if you find that that's stripped or can't get it out or whatever and you've already drained the fluid, well, now what are you gonna do? So, make sure you can get the fill plug out first, and then go from there. Spray them with WD-40 or some releasing agent, a penetrant, in order to make sure they come out easy. I'm not even going to be able to film, oddly enough, I'm not going to be able to film getting in here. It's just too tight. I'm going to try and move the camera around a little bit, maybe jack up the car a tiny bit more to get under here. I think that's what I'm going to do, because I just don't have enough room to work. So I'll be back in 2 seconds after I move this bugger up a little bit. Okay, got her jacked up a little bit higher now. As I said, there's not a lot of places to jack up around here. Good place to put your jack stands is on the rear frame mounts here. I'm having a hard time showing you this. Looking up from my jack stand. Rear subframe mount. Now be careful, one of the things you have to do is be careful of these wires here. This is for the rollover control. There's one on each rear axle. See this little lever here? Trying to get there we go. This little lever moves up and down as the suspension moves up and down, and when one decompresses or goes down too low and the other one is high, I guess it reads the difference between the two and it says roll bar activate. That's what I'm assuming anyway. I don't know if that's true or not. I have no idea, but I'm pretty sure that's what that is. I haven't actually even looked that up. Anyway, under here I'm going to take out I'm going to loosen the fill bolt and then do the drain bolt, and I will get back at you. I've just got some penetrant soaking on them. That's about it. I'll be back in a minute. Okay, the fill plug, which I'm trying to get to first. Sorry, I'm trying to get this light on there so I can show you. See here, see, get light on. See in front of my finger here is there's a little mounting loop, a little retainer for the rear parking brake cable. I had to bend that up out of the way a little bit. It's not really a big deal. It's on a nice solid mount. You can just kind of bend it up out of the way in order for the extension for the socket to get through there, because there's no room to get around under there. I'm trying to get light on there so you can see it. You can see the 14 mil in the fill plug on the back where it goes under the exhaust. You could take the whole exhaust off. I'm not gonna. Bending up that little mount is no big deal. And make sure your socket is firmly inside that fill plug. If you start pulling on it and it's not firmly in there and you strip it, it's not going to be a fun time getting that sucker out. Anyway, I'll be back in a minute. Okay, now I hope you've got enough light on there to see it. You can see the socket where it's in. Right here, you should be able to see it. I'm going to need both hands to hold this extension in place. And again, this is the fill plug, which I want to take out first and make sure it comes out, and it is coming out. And I'm going to blast a bit more lube on that as it's coming out. Where the hell's my lube? Bada boom, that's what she said. Ugh. Sorry, I knocked you over. Apologies. Okay, I think you can see under there. Just I hope you can. Ugh. It's a bitch of a spot, let me tell you. It really is. It might not be as bad if you have a hoist. I don't have a hoist. I could have used ramps, but I didn't. 275 series tires don't fit on ramps too well. So anyway, this sucker is apparently coming out, which is good. Jesus Christ. Ugh. It's tight. So anyway, I'm sure you don't want to watch me pull this whole drain bolt out. It's almost out anyway. It's actually finger tight now, I think. And even getting fingers back there is a pain. Okay. So, sorry, knocked you over. Drain plug out and fluid draining. I mean, that's because I've got the back jacked up. Generally, the top of the drain, or sorry, the fill plug, is where you're going to notice, where you're going to check your fluid level from. Ooh, stinky. But because the car is tilted up at the back end and it's not level, it's draining a bit forward and coming out of there. Man, I wonder what transmission fluid smells like on burning exhaust. I can't even turn off my camera because my frickin' hands are so dirty. Oh well, there we go. I'll be back in a minute once I get the drain bolt out. Okay, so the lower drain bolt, you're gonna have to, unless you're using like an L-shaped Allen 14 millimeter Allen-headed socket, you're gonna I have to use an extension to clear the wiring protector for the rear ABS. That's about it. The bolt's not in too tight. I actually checked it. It's loose. Not loose, but I mean I can take this one off. It's not gonna be a big deal. I'm still dripping a little bit from the fill plug up there. Like I said, because it's tilted so far forward. And I'm gonna take this off, drain out the stinky fluid, and I'll be back. I'll show you the smelly fluid draining out. Back in a second. Okay, drain bolt off. Old fluid draining. We're not going to clean off the drain bolt. I never like cleaning off differential drain bolts and stuff because I like to leave a bit of oil on them so they don't ever get stuck. This is a magnetic one, and if you can see the end, I'm trying to hold that steady for you. Oh, got a bit of shakes. Haven't eaten today. Didn't have enough coffee either. Metallic sludge. See that? Ugh. Sorry, I'm trying to keep the light on that for you. Metallic shaving sludge. I didn't even check the fill bolt to see if there's anything on that. Yeah, a little bit. Anyway, these two are draining. Well, one's draining now. The other one, it's no longer up to its level. So, these two bolts are interchangeable, by the way. The fill and drain plugs are exactly the same. Let's see if I can... Oh, yuck. Not liking that. See that? Ugh. I always do this, stick my finger in the differential and see what's in there, and oh man, there is a lot of sludge in there. Back in a minute with a magnet, let's see what happens. Okay, still under here checking. I've got a small bolt pickup magnet that I'm going to try and see if this stuff is metallic or not. I have a feeling it's just sludge. I don't think anyone's ever changed this. Doesn't really look, it's not really picking anything up. I mean, if this was, well, that is kind of picking up by it, but not really. It's more like metallic shavings mixed with sludge. But I mean normal metallic shavings from a differential or transfer case, when you change them, they're always going to have a minute bit of metallic shavings in there. I'm sorry, this looks really gross, but I'm going to run some clean non-synthetic fluid through the top fill hole and let it try and drain some of this stuff out. Because this is some nasty fluid. I don't think it's ever been changed. This is just, and it doesn't smell. It's not stinky like regular differential fluid. I mean, it is, but it isn't. Kind of hard to say. I mean, the color is odd. Yeah, I know I shouldn't be getting this on my hands. Carcinogens. I'm gonna frickin' die of hand cancer when I'm 60. Who knows? I'm not doing this with a rubber glove on and risk getting a rubber glove piece stuck up in there. So that's what's happening. It just seems to be like a light coating of sludge inside there. So I'm going to try and... Anyway, I'm wasting too much of your time gabbing about this. So I'm going to try and run some clean fluid down there and let it drain this crap out. Back in a second. Okay, so I flushed another liter of regular 8090 diff fluid, high-point gear oil, through the rear differential, and it's cleaned out most of the gunk in there. It was mostly just down around the bottom of the sump here. That's where it was gathered at. That's about all I can tell you for now. Anyway, I'm just letting the last of that diff fluid drain out. Then I'm gonna have to, excuse the expression, finger bang a bit of the rest out. It's kind of gross, but see, I mean, you gotta pull the fluid out with your finger. I mean, when it's jacked up like this, I have no way to access the car flat on the ground. So, kind of working your finger in and out of the hole. Yeah, gross. Working your finger in and out of the hole is kind of pulling the fluid out. So, anyway, that's just flushing through, and then I'm going to put in the lower drain bolt. I'm going to put that back in, and then we'll fill up with fluid. I'll be back in a minute. Okay, so I cleaned the metallic shavings off the drain bolt. Cleaned the drain bolt up, put a little bit more fluid on the threads, and put the drain bolt, the lower drain bolt, back in. Tightened it to 50 foot-pounds, and I'm going to check before I'm done when I put my torque wrench on it. I'm going to make sure that's about right, but for now I'm pretty sure that's what it is. That's where I'm going to start off for now. The fill plug is still off, and I've got a hose running. It's very hard to see under here, I apologize. There's a hose running up from the fill hole up through the fender under the suspension, and I mean, you're trying to get to a high point because obviously you're going to try and pump fluid in there. You can't really stick a bottle in there and squeeze it in. So you're trying to get higher than that fill hole and be able to dump it in. So I'm just going to attach the end of the bottle, which has got the little, the little neck on it. Oh, by the way, Castrol Syntec 7590 synthetic gear oil. As long as it's API GL5, you should be good. This is good for limited slip and regular differentials, and mine does not have limited slip. Anything else I can think of tell you? Check with the dealership. They said this stuff was fine. It was no different really than the stuff they carried at the dealership. So, other than it's half the price. So anyway, fully synthetic gear oil, and we're going to pump in. It's about 1.5 liters, but basically you fill it up until it starts spilling out the fill tube. And I don't know if I'll bother trying to show you this because it's kind of a it's kind of look like a monkey playing checkers. It's a nice bright sunny day. It's only like 4 in the afternoon, but under a car it's not so sunny. Oh, is this hose gonna go over this one? Shit. No, it's not. I'm gonna have to get a different nozzle. Okay. And the hose will a lot of times try and slip off on you and piss you off and make your life hell, so you better hold it with one hand while you're squeezing the fluid in with the other, and hopefully that hose hasn't popped out of the fill tube end. And anyway, this is going to take about 15 minutes for me to hold this here and squeeze it slowly into the fill hole. Unless you have a fluid pump. I do have one somewhere in my garage, and I'm too freaking lazy to go look for it. And I find them messy as hell to use. You got to clean the crap out of them every time you use them because for different fluids. So anyway, I'm not using it. I'm just doing this, and I'm just going to take my time. I'll be back in a few minutes. Okay, trying to give you a little bit better view of the fill tube from the front. And I am trying to locate the frickin' hose to pour the fluid in, because one of the ends has disappeared on me. Of course it has. Why wouldn't it? Oh god. I always find differentials are one of the most biggest pains in the ass to refill. They really, really are. Oh, sorry, I'm killing your light again. What little light there is. Anyway, I'm on top of the tire, out of camera obviously, and trying to pump fluid through from up there. Ah, shit. Son of a bitch. Spilled again. Anyway, I'll be back in a minute. Okay, so all done. Filled. Messy, messy ass job. Always is. Fluid transfer pump is the best thing you can probably invest in. I'm not even going to look for mine in my garage. I'm going to go buy one, because every single time I do a rear differential or a transfer case, I tell myself I'm sick of doing it this way. Hand pumping it in. Anyway, it's about 1.5 liters is going to fill your rear differential. Synthetic API GL5. Not much more I can tell you. I'll print the torque specs on top of the video somewhere. And just remember, don't jack your car up by... it's very, very difficult to find a jacking point under this car. So, like I said, jacking it up by the suspension is always good. But if you're lowered, good luck getting your floor jack under there. That's all I can tell you. Thanks for watching.